I Raptor 101 here with the final battle by, oh, well, not by anyone, but, T-Rex versus Giganotosaurus, and technically Therizinosaurus, but, let's get into this fight. So the fight starts out and Rexy walks through the little intro circle, and, she walks towards the main cast. As she stares them down, all of a sudden the Giganotosaurus walks out from nowhere, and just kind of walks up to Rexy. The two of them stare each other down as the two roar and circle at one another. The Giga roars and Rexy roars back, and then the two attack. And if you've seen the prologue, the Giga does the exact same thing it pretty much did in the prologue, but this time it's straight up like when Rexy lunges in, it raises up, to its full height and pushes its head down on Rexy's neck. Or pushes its neck down on Rexy's, pushing Rexy's head to the ground. Something that if you watch the T-Rex vs. Indominus Rex fight, did actually happen in that fight. Rexy did to the Indominus. Even though not much success, or not as much success, the Giga does do this a little bit better with the older Rexy. And after this, the fight definitely kind of cuts away, and it's hard to see. But then we see the Giga grab Rexy by her tail and swing Rexy around in front of it as it tries to bite down Rexy's neck. Rexy, seeing this, steps back so the Giga misses and lunges at the Giga. The Giga slams his head against Rexy's side, and Rexy tries to bite the Giga's neck, but ends up, getting over top of the Giga. Eventually, as she, backs up a little bit, she finally is able to bite down on the Giga's nose. The Giga roars in pain, is able to break free from Rexy's attack, and then slams into Rexy's side before biting her by her leg. It lifts and flips Rexy over. Rexy's able to get up pretty quickly, and as she turns around and tries to go in for another attack, she trips, and her foot goes into some little staircase or something, and she trips. The Giga steps on Rexy's head, and then it kind of cuts away because the humans are really kind of in the way here. But then from what I could see, the Giga headbutts Rexy and slams her head against one of the little platform things. And, then kind of cuts away, and then we see kind of the main cast running. As when it cuts back, we see the Giga having Rexy in its jaws. And Rexy kind of on the ground, you can see the force of Giga pushing her down. As the Giga begins to pull her, you can see it kind of struggling to hold the Rexy. Even at her older age, she's still pretty strong. It lifts Rexy up and throws her to Rexy's weight as she tumbles into one of the art pieces, and it and her both fall, and I guess it kind of knocks her out the impact, but I don't really understand how she gets knocked out here, because you can see that there's no blood on her neck. She's not bleeding from the Giga's bite. The Giga does little damage to her with its bite. It's possible maybe, it biting caused a lack of oxygen, but whatever happens here. Next, the Giga stomps on Rexy and lets out a roar. As, Owen, Claire, and Maisie are now stuck under Rexy as the platform is slowly getting crushed by the Giga. Ellie Sattler tries to run over there to try to help, but the Giga roars at her. And, as it seems like, it's all hope is lost, pretty much. They shoot a flare, distracts the Giga, and then as the Giga is looking up at the flare, it looks down to see a Therizinosaurus. The Therizinosaurus roars as the Giga's foot stomps down, and the two begin to walk towards one another. As the two walk towards one another, the Giga slams his tail against the ground, and, begins to approach the Theri. As he closes the distance, he quickly runs in, and the Theri slashes him. He tries to bite Theri, but Theri, now putting his claws up on more defensive position, his swing, and manages to scrape the Giga's face as Giga clamps down on the Therizinosaurus' claw, seemingly breaking one of the claws off. As the Theri biting down on the Giga is able to make the Giga let go. And then it kind of goes back to a scene where Rexy's getting up, and we can see, it's the light when the helicopter's flashing over Rexy's face, as we finally see Rexy awaken. She immediately gets up, and as the Giga is, focused on the Therizinosaurus, we see Rexy behind the Giga. The Giga pretty quickly realizes that Rexy's up as he turns, and, sees Rexy, and now as he's distracted with Rexy, the Therizinosaurus is able to slash into the Giga's leg, slashing down to his ankle. The Giga roars and turns and bites at the Therizinosaurus. But also another thing I noticed here is right before the Giga bites, you can actually see that after the Therizinosaurus makes the first claw on the Giga's leg, it actually swings again. And I think this goes also towards, making sure, showing people just how blind it really is. As the Theri, after it makes the first hit, actually makes another swing, which is kind of aimless swing, because it only really, attacks the Giga when the Giga roared, and then it was able to tell what a Giga is, and it cuts its leg. And then it kind of swings again, because it's blind, you can't really tell exactly where the Giga is. And then, now the Giga's turn, Rexy realizes she has an opportunity to attack. She lunges in and runs in and grabs the Giga by its neck, and is able to just run and push the Giga right into the Therizinosaurus' claws. She runs, and as the Giga kind of threw her into the side, she now throws the Giga into the Therizinosaurus' claws. All three claws in the Giga's neck and 2 in its body, as the Giga screeches in pain for like under 2 seconds before eventually dropping dead. Rexy lets out a roar, the Therizinosaurus follows after, leaving the Rex and the Therizinosaurus both, winners. But exactly, a lot of people, I could see a lot of people being like, how come Rexy, just easily gets up, or like, Giga easily beats Rexy. Rexy's like the most powerful T-Rex in the franchise. She may be one of the most powerful T-Rexes in the franchise, but she's old at this point. The Giga is, I guess, in its prime. It's at its strongest. And it gets clapped. Like, okay, I wouldn't say it gets clapped, but the fact that Rexy, in the first fight, walks off by herself, she could have easily have kept fighting. She walks off by herself. And then in this round, you could really see a few times the terrain really went against Rexy. Like when she, the Giga flipped her over, she gets up and she trips, allowing the Giga to step on her and, get the upper hand. Rexy could have easily have been able to get another bite on the Giga, or could have been, able to put up a lot more of a fight. But, because of this, Giga was able to stomp on her head, possibly could have dazed her, or whatever. And then you can see in another scene, Giga headbutts Rexy. Rexy's head slams against the signpost. I mean, come on. And then, in another scene, the Giga grabs Rexy, and it's picking her up, and it's struggling. You have to remember, Rexy's putting up a pretty good fight. She's trying to stay low, trying to keep herself from, getting easily grabbed by the Giga. But the Giga eventually is able to overpower her, and pulls her and picks her up a little bit, right? Picks her neck up a little bit and throws her into the signpost. You can literally hear her roaring as she slams into it and then falls. The only reason she lost here is because that signpost was there. She could have easily have got back up. Now, I'm not going to say that outright she could have killed the Giga here, but the fight could have easily have, she could have still been in the fight, which I think she really should have happened. Like, the fight could have been happening, and let's say the Giga temporarily is able to knock Rexy out, and then, then goes after the main cast. And after the Giga, attacks the main cast, Rexy gets up, fights the Giga. Eventually, the Theri gets sent to the fight, and maybe it's kind of a free-for-all until eventually Rexy grabs the Giga, pushes him into the Theri's claws, and the impact pushes the Therizinosaurus over, and possibly that, all of that weight crushes the Therizinosaurus's arms and his chest, killing the Therizinosaurus and the giga, allowing Rexy to truly be like an alpha, while also allowing the giga and the theri to have, their moments. But definitely this is one fight that could have been really good. Even if Rexy did lose, the fight could have definitely had a lot more potential. The fact that there were so many cutaways, like Jurassic World fight, is definitely, in my opinion, the best fight in Jurassic franchise, hands down. But Tyropter 101 here. Let's reach 100 subscribers by the end of the year, and see you guys later. Goodbye.